Thank you very much. Okay, so following on from Irina's presentation, I'm going to do some practical demonstrations with some of the technologies that I have with me. I'm going to share some of the experiences that I've had and others have had using this amazing equipment. It's just unbelievably powerful. And we'll also do some basic treatments for people. So I'll be looking for volunteers. So however you feel today, just get into a nice quiet place before you start. And how's your energy today? A little bit low? We can deal with that. Do you have any pain or any injuries going on? We can deal with that. Headaches and other things? We can deal with that. Stiffness in the shoulders and the neck? Have a little feel here, tension, stuff like that? We can deal with that. So I want as many of you as possible to get some personal experience of this technology. So, as a reminder, what technology are we talking about? We're talking about the healing fusion technology. I want to share my experiences as to how I got involved with that. So, first of all, I met a guy in the UK who deals with the Scenar. Very, very experienced therapist called Richard Cumbers. And I went to visit Richard, and I had a 6 to 8 minute neck and shoulder massage using this little device, the Scenar. And he asked me beforehand, do you have any pain anywhere, any problems going on in the body? And I said, no. He went, oh, well, you know, it's a pity, because you're looking for a dramatic opportunity. If you know what this technology does, it's almost certainly going to deliver that on every occasion. So I had this neck and shoulder massage, absolutely incredible sensation. And he said, okay, just observe your body for the next 12 hours in particular. And that night, click. There was a little short, sharp pain in my ribs, and then it went again. Okay, maybe that's something I'm meant to observe. And the next morning I saw him, and we arranged to meet for a coffee, and I looked at my watch and, oh, hang on a second. For the last few years, when I got over the age of 40, my eyes started to deteriorate a little bit, which is normal, and I couldn't differentiate between a 1 and a 7. And now, suddenly, everything on my watch is as clear as crystal. As clear as crystal. And this has not happened any day, any hour, any minute for a number of years. And I'm going, whoa, there's something very, very interesting happening with this equipment. So I had no problems the previous day. And I went to speak with Richard, and as I mentioned the issue of the rib, and he said, well, okay, what's happened to your ribs? And I went, oh, well, I had a motorbike accident a few years ago and I broke my ribs. He said, oh, what happens is the body's always in a state of balance, or it's trying to move to a state of balance. And if you broke your ribs, you probably had a rib slightly out of place, and that was probably the rib just popping back into place. So I became fascinated by the equipment. I knew already about the work of people like Reich and Reif, so frequencies and treating the body made sense to me. I found out about the history of the technology. I got a Scenar, and I started to treat myself and other people. And some of the situations have been absolutely just almost miraculous compared to other types of treatment approaches. So I want to share some of those with you. I met a guy in a pub in Liverpool a few years ago, a friend of mine, and he said, have you got your zapper with you? And I said, yep. Oh, give us a zap then. So I gave him a quick treatment with the Scenar, and a couple of the guys at the table started to get interested, and one of these guys goes, what's that? And I said, this is an energy healing machine from the Russian space medicine program. Ooh, I want to have a go of that. Me next, please. Quite insistent. So I said, okay. I had no idea what was wrong with him, and I gave him one of the basic techniques, which is called an arm brushing. Sounds strange, but I can explain how this works as we go through. Typically an 8 or 10 minute treatment, and after a few minutes he starts to reach down and touch his leg and get very my goodness, what's this? This is very exciting. So I stop twitching, let me finish. So I finished, and then I said, okay, do you want to share what was going on there? He said, yeah, I can feel my leg properly. I went, okay. So you couldn't feel your leg properly before? No. How did it feel? It was tingly. Okay, do you know why your leg was numb and tingly? Yeah, I broke my back. Okay, when did you break your back? 28 years ago. And I said, do you mean to tell me that you haven't felt your leg properly in 28 years, and after an 8 or 10-minute treatment, you can feel your leg perfectly? Yes. And he said, I now can't wait to get back home and jump in the bath, because every time I've jumped in the bath for the last 28 years, I get a sharp electric shock off that leg. And I've got a feeling now it's not going to happen. And I never saw the guy again. But I did get in touch with his friend a few months ago, and I said, do you remember this guy? Oh yeah, he's a good mate of mine. So I said, okay, how's he doing? He's fine. Tell me about his leg. What about his leg? I said, I want to know if the treatment that I gave him in the pub is still, it still works, 3 or 4 years later. Oh yeah, absolutely. So a one-shot treatment and a long-term problem, although it wasn't, majorly serious, have been dealt with on the spot. And that's the potential of this equipment. It obviously doesn't happen like that all the time. It depends on the nature of the problem. If you've got a serious, complex, long-term issue, then it's probably going to need a number of treatments to cure the person. But if it is a very fresh problem, or it is an old problem where the body has already done a lot of the work to resolving the problem, it can be completely resolved in one go. So you can get some very dramatic results out of this. I want to share a few more instances. I would like to first of all endorse what Irina says, which is 95% of the cases you can make a significant impact or resolve the problem on the spot. That's absolutely phenomenal, and I'm talking about within minutes. So I very badly injured my back a few years ago. I've done my back in a few times, and I know that the severity of this and the pain going on, I'd have probably been flat on my back for a week or more. And there was a problem. I was in Liverpool visiting my cousin for a few days. I had my big army rucksack full of all of my stuff. I had my smaller black day sack, but that's full of my computer equipment and my camera equipment and my hard disks and my healing technologies and everything else. And I was probably carrying in the region of 40 to 50 kilos, which is quite a lot for a severe back injury. And this popped. It was almost that loud. It was so loud, my cousin at the other end of the room goes, "What was that?" And I said, "Oh, that was my back." Okay, so I stuck the pads on with the Scenar and I run the energy through at full power for 20 minutes. And as soon as the machine's on, the pain is gone. And 20 minutes later, there's no pain in the back. It feels stiff, if you like, well supported. All the muscles are tensed up, but in a nice way. And the moment I started to feel the slightest twinge coming back into my back, which was 4 to 8 hours later, the pads were back on, another 20 minutes on FM, a wave treatment. And again, a little twinge lasting at night, because this happened first in the morning, another 20 minutes on full power. And I did that for 2 days. And the next day, the third day, I had to lift both of those rucksacks and get myself back down to London and cross London with bus and tube and all the rest of it and get back home. So the minutes of pain that I had with the injury were 0, less than a minute, because that machine was on me straight away. And 2 days later, the problem was completely resolved. And this is from a really pretty serious back injury. I treated a lady in Norway who hadn't worked for 10 years because she got a toxic poisoning. And then she had severe back problems, and she'd been a great winter sportswoman. And eventually, she was very reluctant to be treated. And I think, this is a problem with the treatment. You feel that you've been dragged around all the place. And eventually I started to treat her. She got some results. And I think it was something like 8 weeks later, she was so good, she was back working again after 10 years of not working. So then she's impressed, and she brings her mother along, who is a Norwegian grandmother, a tough lady. They're, strong women. She's had children and all the rest of it. And I sat the lady down and I said, okay, through a translator, do you have any pain anywhere in your body? Yes. Where is it? Neck and shoulders. Okay, give it a number out of 10. 0 is no pain. 10 is the worst pain imaginable. 10. And I'm shocked. So I said, okay. So we did 3 very, very short treatments. The total treatment period was probably about 25 minutes. And I said to her at the end of each one, do you have any pain anywhere in your body? And the final time she said no. And I went, none? Zero? Zero. And I said, when was the last time you were completely pain-free? And she said, I can't remember. It was years ago. Now, in her case, long-term serious injury, I'd have liked to have seen her once or twice a week for a period of weeks at least to make sure that it's completely gone and not coming back. That wasn't possible. She lived a long way away, and I was told about a week or 10 days later. It depends on the nature of the injury. It could have been the next day or 2 or 3 days later. She said the issue started to come back again. And finally, one more issue I'd like to share is another lady, now a friend from Norway. She had endometriosis, very, very severe pain for 2 weeks or more, a month. And it was, you know, you could see by the look on her face, the fear when she talked about this. It was impacting and devastating her whole life. And she came to me for about 10 days with her boyfriend, and I treated her with the healing fusion technology. So the laser, the Q laser, the resonating soft cold laser that works with the cells and stimulates cell energy. I worked with, and that's a regenerative technology, helps the body to regenerate things like joints from arthritis and stuff like that. I treated her with the Cosmodic, which works with the nervous system, like an orchestra, putting in 46 signals at the same time to tune it up. Here's a signal, I'm waiting for your response. That's not the right response. I'm sending the signal again. Oh, you can hear the signal now. Now I'm going to give you another signal. That's how it works. Biofeedback with the body. And the body tells the machine what it wants in terms of energy. So there's a very different way of creating regeneration in the body. And we also treated her with the Scenar, which is the previous generation machine, which sends in one biofeedback signal to the body. So this is not regenerative, but it's fantastic against pain, and it's fantastic for repair. And we also wrapped her up in the healing blanket after she'd been treated to keep out any harmful, destructive EMF frequencies, mobile phone frequencies, and to wrap in her own energy while she was healing. She was with us for about 10 days, and she went back, and then that day, I think, or the day before, her pain period came back on again, and we started to treat her. And I spoke to her afterwards, and I said, okay, well, what happened this month? She said, well, I had about 4 days of discomfort, and I said, okay, well, that's mega compared to 14 days of absolutely continuous unremitting agony. And then the next month I said, how's it going? And she said, I've had 4 days of nausea this month, but no significant pain. But the issue there was, with this kind of equipment, especially the regenerative equipment, for complex long-term issues, you need to follow up. If you walk away from that, then the problem is that the body starts to slip back down and down and down again. So what's happening underneath is, if the body can't repair itself, it's due to lack of coherence or communications, or lack of energy to be able to affect the healing. And these technologies give you both of those things in a variety of ways. And that approaches the body in a number of different ways, and the body can do something with it. But and I was telling her, you must get this equipment to treat yourself, or come back and see me. And it didn't happen for about a year, and the situation had deteriorated quite a lot, unfortunately, at that time. She ended up getting the equipment, and she got results from it, and she still uses it today, and she still gets results from it. But that very, very fast, very dramatic improvement that we had the first time wasn't repeated the second time. The second time it was longer, slower, more progressive, more step by step. So I want to tell you about the features and the limitations of the technology, if you like. So the Q laser puts in light energy. It causes a solitonic wave, which is the way dolphins and whales communicate. It puts in lots and lots of little pulses of light. And dolphins and whales don't scream at each other over the oceans. They put these layers of resonating frequencies together in such a way as the little waves build up into bigger and bigger and bigger waves of their own accord. And that wave goes like a tidal wave through the ocean. So these little pulses can go very, very deep into the body while being very gentle and very subtle at the same time. And a sick cell has low energy or a low difference. It's like osmosis. It needs electrons on one side of the cell wall. It needs a difference to be able to pull in the oxygen and the nutrients and kick out the byproducts of the respiration, which are the toxins. So that's a detox effect as well as an energy effect on the cells. It has no effect on healthy cells, but sick cells, bang, significant improvement in energy. So the laser works on pain as well. I have to tell you about it because I don't have it today, and the reason is that my baby daughter, who is 10 months old, is teething. And that's a problem. It's not my problem at the moment, but it's Sylvia's problem, and I didn't want to leave her with a bigger one. So she's got the laser, and what happens with Amber at the laser is, if she starts to grumble with her teeth, she gets between 5 and 10 seconds of the laser until she relaxes, and then we're done. We take it away. And she can be completely changed as a baby in 5 or 10 seconds flat. Headaches with adults, things like that, 9 or 10 minutes, 3 cycles of the laser. So the laser works with pain, it works with light, it works with regeneration. It's an amazing technology. It's even better if it's put together with the Cosmodic. So here's my Cosmodic. There are 3 really different types of Cosmodics. There's a very, very basic machine about half the size of this, like a matchbox. And it has a little switch, and it has a little set of electrodes on it. And you move it over the skin, you get a green light, and the green light is, oh, I found a good treatment point. You leave it, it beeps, it tells you when it's done. Or it tells you when it's made a difference. You leave it on longer, and it will beep again to tell you, okay, now I'm done. You can keep on going, but it's not going to make any difference to the body. So my experience with the Cosmodic was at the Breakthrough Energy Movement Conference in Boulder. I arrived after 24 hours of travel. I was absolutely out on my feet. I'm now at altitude, so I've got a bit of altitude sickness coming on as well. I get to bed that night, and I wake up after about 4 hours. So I did the treatment the night before. So I put my shirt on. It's a lovely warm sunny day. I can see the snow on the Rockies in the background. Got bad habits as well, so I roll up a cigarette. I go outside and I have a smoke, and I'm looking at the door and I'm going, oh, it feels pretty good. And this guy walks past in a big puffer jacket and a hat. And he goes, are you cold? And I went, is it cold? And he said, yeah. I said, how cold is it? He said, it's about 6 degrees or so. Ah, okay. Well, I've now got the circulation of, a 6-year-old, apparently, after an hour's treatment with the Cosmodic. So that was my introduction to the Cosmodic. The basic Cosmodic, you were asking about prices, some people were yesterday, is about $2,200 US. This is the next version up. What does this do? That doesn't. This has measurements, so you can measure different areas on the body, and you can use numbers to detect if you're measuring all along the nervous system in the spine, for example, the very best place to treat. That's one way to use a Cosmodic. Another way to use a Cosmodic is subjectively, as you do with the Scenar, which is to compare the skin with the skin. So I'll show you how to do this. Brushing. That's moving over my skin, but hang on a second, this, if I start to press more, it's starting to try and not move here. So what's going on here? Why this spot? If we have a cold or flu or something like that, what happens to us? Our skin becomes sweaty, clammy, as we generate the fever. So we have a difference in the sweatiness and the clamminess of the skin, if you like, and what's happening is this is connected to a nerve, and that's subject to some kind of nerve inflammation along the system. Now this could be to do with a bad back. Why is this useful? Well, if people have sciatica, then the pain occurs down their backside and down their leg, but the problem is in the back somewhere. And that means it can be very hard to actually locate the problem. So if we use this technique, we're going to the nerve inflammation, we're finding the most interesting thing in the body, because it's all connected, it's all wired up through patterns, fractals. And we've now got an excellent treatment point to treat the body. So there's one of the techniques. Exactly the same thing with the scanar. So, quick review, scanar sends an electrical signal into the body, it copies the nerve impulse, it actually modifies it a little bit, it pretends to be a pain signal, so it doesn't feel painful, but it's going, hey, there's some pain going in the body now. What's the response? This is like a hard knock on the system. Bang, 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 brain's going, what's going on? There's a very strong pain signal going on in the body. Oh, okay. Because very often the communications are broken down. So the brain now scans the body and goes, oh, you've got a serious knee problem. Okay? So the energy coming into the arm is now recognised by the body as its own energy, its own electrical healing energy, and the brain can now send it to where it needs to go and do the healing. That means we've got two effects going on. We've got an energy healing effect going on, and we've got a coherence or communications effect going on. And we have a third effect that follows on during and after the treatment for hours, and that's the brain is now encouraged to open brain pharmacy, and brain pharmacy central goes, you need neuropeptides. And the neuropeptides go flooding through the body, doing the healing wherever they need to take place. Cosmodic does exactly the same thing, but it has 46 simultaneous biofeedback loops with the body, whereas you can compare the scanar, like the drum section of the orchestra. Here's the whole of the orchestra coming in, and the result is it's much more harmonic and gentle and subtle with the body. It's less dramatically impacting on the pain, but this is now such sophisticated information that the body is able to start to use that information to, again, regenerate itself. So when this regeneration technology is combined with the laser regeneration technology, we have two different, completely different approaches now working in perfect synchronicity with each other. And then we add the healing blanket on top. Does that give you a good idea of what the equipment does, how it works, how it complements each other? If not, just ask any questions now, because I want you to get the, okay, I get it, I understand that now. Okay, who has any pain or whatever going on in the body? Right. And I want to reassure you, first of all, like my cooking, this is highly recommended. I've never actually killed anyone yet.
Not yet.
Right. So, what's the problem going on with you? Do you want to come up here and grab the microphone? Okay.
Thank you. I've got.
Is that on?
Yeah.
Is it on? Hello? Yeah. I've got problems in the back here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now the beauty of this equipment is, can you take your necklace off for me, please?
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just put this down. The beauty of this equipment is, it doesn't need a diagnosis. What if we misdiagnose? The body doesn't care. The body goes, I recognise you, I recognise the message you're bringing, I recognise the information, I recognise the energy. Thank you very much. The body is in control of this technology. It's not the technology telling the body what to do. Very, very important. If you're trying to treat for a recently broken ankle, for example, and maybe you've got something much more serious going on in your system, the body's going to go, forget the ankle, I've got other work to do. This might account for some of the 5% of cases where you don't apparently get a result from this equipment first time significantly. So, is the movement in your shoulders impacted if you start to move your arms about? How does it feel?
I can still feel it.
You can still feel it?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it painful?
It's, no, it's just a little painful,
Yeah.
but it's more pressure-like.
Yeah.
Pressure-like.
Blockage, stiffness?
Blockage, stiffness, yeah, stiffness.
Okay. What if you move your arms up like this? Does that cause any more problems or?
No, it's actually it goes down. Not in
Okay.
the arms, but somewhere down.
Cool. Okay, thank you. In that case, let's just get treated.
Oh, yes.
I've got some of my favourite toys here today as well. These things are absolutely awesome. Anastasia books, anyone? Sure, guys. The Magic Healing Rock. Let's take it into the science world. This is some of the oldest forms of carbon on the planet, and it's structured into fullerenes. It predates any carbon life on the planet, and fullerenes are structures composed of tubes and balls. And for some reason, it's known as Buckminster fullerenes, or buckyballs, has a dramatic energy sort of effect. So, what we're going to do is we'll use the Cosmodic for this. There's a massage mode, so what's going to happen is when the muscles, every cell in those muscles are stimulated by the energy in the right way, they'll start to relax and then they'll start to move. So what I'm going to do here is a cellular level massage. Would you like to hold that machine? Don't hold it at the back with the silver electrodes. Okay. This is the plus button for the energy. This is the minus button. And what I want to do is I'm going to run the energy right the way through your shoulders. Press the plus button until you get a nice, pleasant
So
tingle.
plus is where? Can you repeat it?
Move your finger.
Yeah.
Next to the screen at the top, the arrow left, yeah.
Oh, I can feel it.
Yeah.
That's tingling.
It's tingling.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, this is nice.
It's nice. Great. This is nice. This is one of the most amazing things you'll ever feel, actually, strangely enough. So what I'm doing is I'm just moving the energy around the muscles a little bit, and it normally takes a minute or two, because what happens is all of those cells in those muscle groups need to unlock. And when they unlock, they'll relax. When they relax, we'll get this kind of effect off them. So this is pulsing. It's sending a signal in, bzzz, stop, bzzz, stop. Now we've got the movement of the shoulders. You might be able to see it just a little bit. It's not dramatic. This is what we want. We don't want with the shoulders. Treat the body with respect. This should be smooth like a Rolls Royce. She's smiling. Okay. So very, very, this is the body massaging itself. Just using the energy. The body is just using the energy.
And why the modes of massage? Because you can use another one also for this.
That's right, yeah. There's a healing mode, which is effectively like a biofeedback mode. So that's the one where you park it somewhere, send in the signals, wait to response, send in more signals, get to response. And it runs through two stages. The first one typically takes anywhere between 5 seconds and a minute, and it will then beep. And that beep says, I've now made a difference to the body, to this point, to this area, and to all parts connected to this point. So that's why we have different ways of treating. So one is that arm brushing, for example, and the others are what's known as protocols, and the protocols are measuring and treating specific areas of the body. One, a classic is right the way down the spine, where we are finding the most interesting area to be treated on the nervous system effectively, and that will then go to the liver, the pancreas, the heart, whatever.
But it starts hurting a bit. Is that okay?
Okay. Well,
We're going to move maybe this. It's because
that's probably
blockage,
me. That's probably me pressing.
Ah, okay.
Could be, but so we'll just try and move these a little bit.
Were you moving the shoulders, or was that the muscle relaxing it? Or was it your conscious doing that?
No, I didn't do anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you did that.
Yes, I was watching myself. I did,
okay.
but I didn't do it.
All right.
So we're just moving other muscle groups now. Yeah. We don't need to do it for long. This is a very, very powerful treatment. And what I'm going to do is very, very quickly now just reverse these. The body, anyway, is going to redistribute the energy, but we're just going to treat it as a whole system. So we approach it one way, we approach it another way. This is one of the mistakes people can make with the equipment. They get lazy, you've got a knee problem, stick on some knee pads, run the energy through the knee, and that's it. Well, that's great, it will work. But if you really want to get fast progress, do arm brushing, do the 6 points on the face, do some protocols, treat the knee in various ways, and you're improving the overall system. So, let's go back to here. Now, very fast response. If I don't get this response very fast, then that can tell me that there's a great deal of incoherence going on in the system. So 2 minutes normally, these muscles relax, and you get this kind of result.
It's like needles.
Okay, it's a bit strong then, so take it down, the other button. The button
Okay.
Okay,
It's like needles.
go for pleasure, not pain.
Okay.
Some people like a bit of pain. Okay. Yeah, okay. Right.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, just a second.
Okay.
How are you feeling then?
Just a minute. It runs. Oh, sorry. It runs smoother now somehow.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think it has to sink in. So
That's
I can feel that something has changed, but I just can. It's just different. But I don't have the right words for it.
Cool, that's right, that's good. Okay, thank you. We're going to give you one more different kind of treatment. Why? Because this is one of the fastest, easiest protocols that you can do. And this is called the 6 points on the face. So we're treating the whole body now again, we're treating it as zones, so just relax. The amount of energy is setting itself automatically. Typically what it will do is it will come up, give the body a little push, and then relax again. I'm going to pull up the microphone for the next treatment point. So this is treating lower zone of the body. And I'll just describe what's going on the screen. So we have a measurement at the bottom of the screen with a number. On the left-hand side, we have like a vertical graph, and that's giving us a percentage of the treatment that's being done. Now, this is quite interesting. It's taken quite a long time. That's great. If the body's in real problems, it will not be able to accept very much of this energy. It will close it down very, very quickly. Whoops, I've had a little bit. That's enough. Let me process it. People who have a high degree of coherence will tend to suck up the energy from this machine, and that's a very, very good sign. So it's one of the sort of reverses, if you like, of this type of energy medicine. We've got a spinning circle in the middle as well, and the faster it spins, the more interesting and exciting it is regarding the treatment that's going on. And that circle is broken at the top by a number, and that number goes up and down, but eventually it goes down to 3, 2, 1, 0. When it zeros, there's a little beep, doo-doo, and that's telling us that it's actually made a difference on that point. So, quite a long treatment, this one. And then on the right-hand side scale, it's just zeroed out. On the right-hand scale, there's another vertical column, and that one is letting us know the amount of energy. So I'm just going to Can you hear them? There we go. That's a long treatment. That's a good sign. What I'm going to ask you to do is to sit back down.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the machine, and I'm going to show you where to hold it while you complete the rest of the treatment, and we'll then get someone else, and we will just hold it there and hold it as still as you can. Push it reasonably hard. You need a good contact. Okay, so who else would like a treatment? Come up, please. Okay. So, okay, Nick, what's going on?
Is it on?
Yeah?
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. When I was 16, I was in a bike accident, a motorbike.
Mm-hmm.
I compacted a disc and cracked my, what's it called?
Mm-hmm.
At the lowest end of the spine.
Pelvis?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's been causing trouble.
Giving you trouble today?
Yeah, I think so. A hard bed makes it worse.
Right.
Yep.
So give it a number out of 10. If 0 is no pain and 10 is the maximum you can imagine.
I think it's a 2 or 3.
It's a 2 or a 3?
Yeah.
Okay. And is it this every day?
No, not every day,
Okay.
but especially today.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Let's give it a shot then. Not at the moment. First thing is, okay, we've got our next toy, which is the Scenar. Various types of Scenar. I'll show you another one. There's an earlier generation one. So this machine, about $1,850. What we'll do, in fact, Nick, is can you turn yourself around a little bit? I'm going to give you an arm brushing. So, welcome to the weird world of energy medicine. Yeah, could you take it off? Yeah, sorry. Arm brushing, how does it work? Well, nerve inflammation. If there's anything going on in the body, all the nerves are wired together. And what we're looking for is a difference in the skin. So what we're comparing is Nick's arm with Nick's arm, Nick's skin with Nick's skin. What's happening in one place is different to another. There is something going on. And we use the principle that everything is connected. The arm is a nice size to use for this exercise. So, okay, plus and minus buttons. I'm going to set the plus. Let me know when you start to feel this.
What am I supposed to feel?
You'll feel it. You'll let me know when you, yeah? Is that strong?
I feel a tingling.
Okay. It's not too strong then.
Oh, at the end, it's very strong.
Okay. How's that now?
Yeah, that's more pleasant.
Okay. See this. Turn yourself around a little bit, Nick, for the camera.
Yes.
See the redness appearing on that arm? Okay. So we've got various effects going on. One is this feeling. This is resistant area compared to the other areas of the arm. We've got the redness. We've got the sound of the machine. We've got the sensation. It feels more sensitive on this area.
What I didn't tell you is my joint hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And when you reach that point at the lower, it really hurts. The machine is...
It's too strong.
Yes.
Okay. How's it now?
Better.
It's better.
Yes.
Okay, good. Now what I'm doing is I'm looking for a smaller point to treat. So I'm looking for the smallest point. There's a lot of redness coming up here, actually.
So you're just looking for a visual indication? You don't want me to say
I'm
anything?
putting all the information together.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm still trying to find what I feel is the best treatment point, but in the meantime, this is treating the whole body, frankly. Okay. I've never seen so many red patches come up on an
Good
arm
sign.
before. So, but that's okay. What we're looking for is a small and interesting point to start off with. The smallest one you treat first. And I'm using the noise. I'm using the sensation, I'm using the sound, and I'm using the color of the skin to pick a point.
So what do you feel when you drag it? Do you feel any sensation, or do you?
No, just resistance.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's like it's either smoothly running over the skin, or it's trying to push a box with no wheels uphill, so it drags against the skin. Okay. So what's happening with this machine is now we're holding it still on one point, and again there's a number of beeps happening from the machine. You hear that? Getting that? Okay. There are also 4 lights on here. So there's 4 white lights. The white light, the 2 white lights on the left are now lit up. Now 3. And that should have now made a difference to the body. So, okay. Do you have any pain anywhere in your body now? Do you want to stand up and have a move around? Because this is typical with a back problem.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. Give it a number out of 10.
It's less. Maybe a 1.
Okay, cool. Let's try the other arm this time. Great. Okay. Great. Thank you. Okay. So, just do another brushing. Redness is coming up again. Similar sort of indicator. Nick, do you want to park yourself down there and okay, take it down with the minus button. Okay, get it so it's comfortable. Doesn't really matter. You can have it on 0 if you don't feel anything. It doesn't matter. You treat babies that way. So, meantime, we need to move this on, don't we? So let's. Okay, so we're now on the mirror point. Okay. Okay. Beeps. You hear all the little beeps, and then what you're looking for is doo-doo. And on the left-hand column, it will have 100. Katya, do you want to have a quick look at this? So you've got the 0 at the bottom. Okay. Yeah, it's got the number of the treatment points at the top of the circle, which is spinning around, and they're changing all the time. So it's very interesting, very strange, this machine, the Cosmodic, because ideally you want to be in a nice, quiet place to treat yourself with this. And what happens is you can start to feel it navigating through your body. Okay, you're done? How are you doing? Okay, you need a few more. Nick, how are you doing at the moment?
Good.
Any pain anywhere in your body?
Not really.
Do you want to stand up and have a wriggle?
My joints are still cracking, but I can't feel any pain.
0.
0.
Great. How long did that take? 5 minutes or so? Something like that. What's going to be interesting now is observe your body. Okay, see what happens over the next few hours. See what happens to your joints and stuff. Because don't forget, Nick's pharmacy is now open for business and having the New Year sale. And the neuropeptides are pouring through the system, and there's all sorts of side effects of healing going to go on. So what I'm interested in now is a treatment interval, which is, okay, how long do you go for before your back pain comes back? Or is it just gone? Another example, tooth abscess, treat over the tooth until it beeps. I've done that on at least 3 occasions now. By the time I'd finished, the patient had no pain at all, and it never came back again. And this machine doesn't care if you're skeptical. It's going to go straight past the brain and have a real good conversation with the body. It doesn't give a damn what the brain has to say. So all sorts of interesting impacts. Finally, I've treated 3 people with strokes. So a stroke is where the brain bleeds, and I was quite terrified the first time I had to do something like this. But, you know, actually, when you learn, you know, you really know the technology, there's not much that you can go wrong. There's very few contraindications. It's very, very safe equipment. This is all home use stuff. So the things that you don't do with it are a very short list that's very easy to remember. And the first lady was in a wheelchair. She could just about stand up, but she had a lot of numbness over one side of her body. And so I treated her just with the Scenar. And with back problems, people always go like this afterwards. Yeah. Where is it? I want to find you. You're there somewhere. Oh, no, you're gone. Okay. With people with strokes, I found that what they do is they do this. Oh. They balance on what had been the bad leg, the numb leg, the leg with no feeling, and then they have a look in the mirror and see how their smile is doing. So that was the first person who'd had a stroke. You know, just a dramatic impact. I was as amazed as anyone else. The second person who had a stroke, same thing. The third person had their stroke several years before, and their hand was clawed over like that. And that took about an hour with the laser and the Cosmodic and the Scenar. And by the end of that hour, that hand was open for the first time in 4 years. But no follow-up. You know, you're not going to completely cure something like a stroke in one go. So that's the equipment. It's absolutely amazing stuff. It's replaced virtually everything in our medicine cabinet. What's it not so good for? It will support the body through illness and disease, flu, colds, sickness and things like that. But it is not the kind of technology that goes in and sends frequencies in to destroy a bacteria or a virus and then support the liver and the kidneys and the guts, etc., while that is being removed from the system. So there's a whole different family of technologies that deals with that kind of stuff. So pain, completing the cycle of illness, stuff like that, this is just mind-blowing technology. Even the older generation Scenars, Claudia, can I show you this? Are stunning pieces of equipment. Absolutely great quality. So the Russians spent $100 million in the 1980s developing this. It was top secret until about 2000. That's why. And these things are available from a few hundred euros to a few thousand euros. Prices, the laser, there's a low-powered version of the laser. It takes a lot longer to treat. That's $1,300. That's the Q10. The Q1000 laser, $4,300. As I said, it'll turn off a headache in about 9 or 10 minutes. The old Scenar from about 300 euros or so. The new Scenar, what's the difference? This has a much more complicated computer that sends in much deeper modified signals, better quality information to the body. They both work brilliantly. The Cosmodic, so about $1,800. The basic Cosmodic, about 2,200. The mid-range Cosmodic, which you've just seen, which also does facelifts, rejuvenating the skin, removing wrinkles and stuff like that, especially with the laser, that's about 4,300. And the top of the range Star Trek machine you saw yesterday with Irina is about $6,000 to $8,000 or $9,000. That has Scenar and Cosmodic technology in. And finally, the healing blanket, there's various sizes, but I know that one about this size is about $700. They all work and brilliantly. So any questions?
This finding the points on the skin, right? It reminds me a bit on the Chinese healing stuff. Is it something similar? Is it working with the same meridians? And
absolutely. Yeah. So what's happening with acupuncture? We're finding specific points of the electrons flow around the skin. They go whoop outside the body, flow along the skin, inside the body again. Meridians, nervous system, all the rest of it. So the theory coming from the Russian space medicine program about this equipment is this works exactly the same way, except it's a lot less critical than acupuncture in terms of finding exactly the right point. The body does that for it, and this has a different sort of level of conversation with the body. I believe it's better than acupuncture, and certainly easier to apply. So the Vedic information, Indian theories, chakras, all that stuff, yes. And the Russian theory on this is it works mind, body, and spirit because everything is connected.
Thank you.
Thank you. We done? Great. Okay. Yeah, that's the great thing about the Cosmodic. You can do as much as you want, frankly. With the Scenar, you need to limit that. You make a difference and you quit. Why? Because there's the danger of a healing crisis. And some people don't read the manual and they go, wow, I feel fantastic after this. I'm going to do another 10 hours of this and be Superman. And what happens is too much energy in the body, system collapse, healing crisis, shivering, shaking, nausea. That's like you're drunk on energy. Go to sleep, have a cup of tea, and wake up and let the body reorganize itself. But this, as much as you want, as long as you want, whenever you want, you cannot do too much. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.